Hi, I'm Obi. This is Obi's Crafts and Stuff, and today I'm going to show you how I made this light up New York Yankees sign. I made this sign as a gift for my nephew Jaxon, who just had a birthday and is a pretty big Yankees fan. This sign was a really quick and easy project. It can be done in a weekend or less depending on how much time you want to spend on it. The wood I'm using is curly maple in the front and walnut in the back, and something else that makes this project even more special to me is the walnut actually came from my late grandfather's wood shop, as he enjoyed woodworking as well. Now let me show you how I did it. As usual for me, I'll start at the miter saw by cutting stock down to more manageable sizes. All these boards had pretty rough edges, so I gave them a couple passes over the joiner so they were ready for the table saw. At the table saw, I rip everything down to 6 inches or less. That way I can clean up the faces on my joiner, which I do a really good job at not recording. Once I run a face of the boards over the joiner, I resaw the maple at the bandsaw to get more out of my stock and have less waste. All boards then get sent through the planer to a final thickness of 1/4 inch. Unfortunately, my camera died while filming this glue up. There's a few ways to glue thin panels like this, and I'll leave a link in the description to a video that I used to learn how to do it. Once the glue has cured, a quick sanding now will make life a lot easier after the symbols have been cut out. I did the template in 2 pieces, one slightly larger than the other. That way I would have the outlined effect with the walnut over the maple. With the templates fully traced out, we can move over to the bandsaw and start getting this thing closer to what it should look like. Cutting things out like this with the bandsaw, it's always best to cut up to the line, but not to go over. That way you can come back later with a sander and sand up to the line. Now you'll want to make the back plate. This will be something for the light to go around and also help stabilize the sign in general. You'll want to keep this smaller than the rest of the sign, that way the lights stay hidden. And it doesn't have to be anything special. I'm just using scrap plywood here. Before fastening the back plate to the walnut, now is a good time to find the best placement for your light receiver and orientation. In this case, I'm cutting a spot out for the receiver and routing a groove for the wires to lay in. To fasten the sign to the back plate, I'm just countersinking holes in the walnut to later screw the walnut to the back plate. That almost looks professional. With the drum sander, I can now sand up to all the lines and clean all the edges up. With a final sanding of 220 grit, we're ready to put this thing together. I decided on spray shellac for my finish, and I left the maple and walnut separate while I started the finish. But after I got into it, I realized that probably wasn't necessary. Once the shellac hardened, I was able to flip over the maple and apply this rapid fuse wood glue and center it onto the walnut. Then I used about every spring clamp I had to clamp them together. A few more coats of shellac around the edges to get the walnut, and sanding lightly in between each coat, and we're done with the finish. For all these signs that I've made so far, I just use these cheap Amazon LED strip lights. So far they've worked alright, I haven't had any complaints yet. Finally, the last step is to fasten some sort of hanging system. I found that odd-shaped signs such as this one, braided fishing line tied to 2 screws, is the best to keep things level. This line is like 65-pound test or something like that, so it should be plenty strong enough for this. Well, and there you have it. This process can be used for a lot of sports teams or other symbols. Hopefully it lasts my buddy Jaxon for a long time. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and if you like what I'm doing, subscribe to my channel. I have many more projects I'd like to share on here. Thanks for watching.